Hello and welcome to Not So Awesome Review, and today we're looking at the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron by Jazwares. So the Micro Galaxy Squadron is basically the new version of the action fleet that Galoob used to put out way back in the day. Well, not way back in the day, but it's been a while. Anyways, here we have the launch edition Millennium Falcon, which don't ask me what that means. I believe there's supposed to be some kind of paint differences, but I'm not 100% sure. I guess we'll find out in time once a regular version of the Falcon comes out and regular versions of all the other ones do, but for now, these are the launch editions. That said, this Millennium Falcon is really nice. Honestly, the paint on it is pretty good. I'm not going to sit here and say if it's screen accurate or not, or how close it is, how far off it is, because I don't have a book with photos of the Falcon right next to me. I don't memorize the color scheme perfectly in my head or anything, but just, from I don't want to say casual, because definitely not a casual fan, but as the type of fan I am, where I do like collecting figures and stuff like that, it looks good. It looks really nice. I do love the wash on it, but we'll get on to the Falcon in a second. Let's start with the little minifigures that it comes with. So just like the old Galoob line, these ones do come with little mini 1-inch figures. This set includes Han Solo, Princess Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Chewbacca, which is a little bit of an odd mix, in my opinion, that Princess Leia is in it. I mean, in a way, it makes sense, unless they do, like, the ship she's in the beginning of the movie. I don't know what other ship you can put her in, or if you do, like, a Hoth version of her, but I know they want to do, like, New Hope, because it's, the launch edition. We want New Hope characters. I'm assuming that's what they did there. But again, it's kind of weird that we got Princess Leia and Obi-Wan, because they never actually interact in the movie. So, yeah, would have loved to see a New Hope Farm Boy Luke, because currently the only Luke that is out is the X-Wing pilot one, which is cool. Comes with R2-D2, but yeah, we're missing R2-D2, C-3PO, Farm Boy Luke. I feel like Farm Boy Luke makes sense with these characters, because again, that's kind of the first movie, but that's just probably overthinking it. I'm sure he's coming anyway, so let's move on from that. But yeah, the figures look really good. They're actually really nicely detailed for the size. The paint on them, for the most part, is actually not bad at all. You can definitely tell who it is by looking. Faces aren't painted, at least in the eyes, I should say. They're not painted, so they do look a little dead if you look a little too close. But places where belts are silver and stuff, like Princess Leia's belt and Obi-Wan's belt buckle and everything like that, nice shiny silver. So they did a good job with the paint. It's nice metallic looking. Chewbacca, a little too brown, but that's just, it is what it is. I mean, I guess unless they did a wash on him, you can't really do much. Let's see if I can actually get this a little bit closer and then just focus in. Somewhere around there, you can see he does look decent enough. You can tell it's Han Solo, though. I doubt you can tell. He does look like he has like a little bald spot going on right there. Paint isn't perfect. There's a little bit black on the sleeves and everything, but detail-wise, I mean, it's sculpted on right there. The pockets are all sculpted on. The belt is sculpted on. It's not like it's just printed or anything. So they definitely did a pretty good job with these things. Han Solo is the hardest one to get standing. Leia does look really good. She has the silver belt buckle. Her hair looks pretty good, though it looks like they could have used a little bit more brown on the paint there. I do want to go over actually the articulation. For Han Solo, we do have a hand movement up and down for both, or arm movement up and down for both, and then independent leg movement, so you can get one leg, two legs, whatever you need. On him, for Leia, it's only the hands and then both legs together, and it's going to be the same thing for Obi-Wan here, because he is in his Jedi robes. So arms, they move together, but you can move them independently, just not too far off, but it is possible. Again, Jedi robes, so he moves there. You can see his lightsaber is buckled right there, which looks really nice, and it is nice in silver. And Chewbacca does have his little, I don't know what you want to call it, bandolier or something like that. It could be probably like the wrong word, but yeah, arms, legs, see the little pouch right there. You can see his nose is painted darker. Again, you can see where the eyes go, but no paint. I feel like just a drop of paint. I know there's people who are really good at painting miniatures, like really, really good. And I know these are smaller than I think your average war game things. I feel like someone's gonna go in there and paint the eye at least like with a dot, and it's gonna be like the best looking dotted eye ever. But anyways, taking a closer look at the Falcon itself, the detailing on it is really, really good. Again, I can't speak for 100% accuracy on this thing, but if you didn't know any better, you would say, yeah, that's pretty much there. I mean, we have all of this line work throughout the body that looks amazing. There is a nice wash that goes throughout most of the ship. There are a few places where it's heavier than others, and I'll point that out in a second. But overall, aesthetic-wise, I think the ship came out really nice. It's definitely up there in the looks department, and for the size of it and for the price of it, I really do like it. I honestly really am liking what I'm seeing here. So much so that I may or may not have the Razor Crest coming soon. So there is that. So taking a quick closer look at hand, the ship itself looks amazing. All of the orange pieces here are painted. They're not decals or anything. Nothing on this ship is decals, which is really nice. You can see the heavy black washes in certain areas that really make all of the detail pop and everything. Something that a lot of us would have done if it didn't have the wash, I'm sure. Again, all the orange looks really nice. My only issue with the wash here is that in contrast to this part of the ship back here to the front, it got a heavier wash everywhere else but this area, which does pop off, and I'll show that in a second. But you can definitely see the difference in the color, which is a little bit disappointing because it definitely looks off balance. It doesn't look right. And yeah, so in the packaging you do have to connect the gun, which is really easy. You just plug it in, can move up and down like that. And the satellite dish, which can move left and right, can't move up and down, unfortunately. At least not that I can tell. I tried, you know, but doesn't move. It is really nicely detailed. That black wash on there is really heavy, but it really brings out all the detail and everything. We do have the cockpit right here, which opens up. You can see the details inside. My only complaint with this part of the ship is that the seats should definitely be a little bit further apart in both the front and especially in the back, because you can't get to those doors to get into the rest of the ship the way the seats are there. It would have been nice to have this a little bit more to scale, you know, have like the panel here and everything. I understand if they wanted to do the interior accurately, they would have had to make the ship bigger, which they would have had to alter every other ship in the line. So I get it. It's a space issue and a sizing issue. You can only make it so small, but yeah, you would have ended up with even tinier figures than 1 inch if we had gotten it accurate to size. So compromises were made, but you can put Han Solo and Chewbacca in the pilot seats here, which is really cool. I do like that. You can put them in there. You can put Leia in the back. You can put Obi-Wan in the back. Do whatever you want. Close it up. There is a little bit of a haze on the glass. In person, you can kind of see them in there. On camera, probably not as much, but it is cool. Again, I wish you could see them a little bit better, but it is where it is. As for the bottom of the ship, there is a detail all around. They didn't really skip out. You do have these ugly screw holes, unfortunately, right here, but it is where it is. You got a couple more right there, some hidden under there, and we do have some stamp here, what I guess an ID number telling you what this is. We do have landing gear that opens up and closes, so we can open these up like that, both open together, and then that one opens so we can land that like so. We do have the little pad right here for going up and down the ship that does open and close. I will say be careful with this one because there is definitely a stress mark already on it. Getting it to open and close, it's not the easiest thing. It clips on too hard. It doesn't go down all the way. If you put it to the ground with the landing gear down, it does want to hover just a little bit off of where it should be, but it is where it is. You can close it if I can get it. There we go. Close it right up, and yeah, looks good. Now this does feature, at least for this one, lights and sounds, which again we'll get into in a second. But first, we're gonna open up the ship here. You can see we have a lot more detail. So back here we have the battery compartment, and you need a little screwdriver to get in there. It takes 3 AAA batteries. Does not include the AAA batteries. Not surprising, but yeah, 3 AAA batteries on your way out of the store when you pick this one up. Or, you know, just go to the dollar store and, you know, save some money, because batteries can be expensive at like Walmart and Target. So yeah, just, you know, cheap batteries. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that, and obviously if you're gonna put it in storage and just like display, never use them, don't leave the batteries in there because you're just gonna get corrosion. But anyways, you can see here that the interior looks really good. It throws me off every time I look at the interior of the Falcon because I'm so used to the old Kenner Falcon. I have the Power to Force one, and if you have the Power to Force one, you know that the whole seat right here and everything is on this side. Obviously it's not, but it throws me off whenever I look at photos of the Falcon and everything like this. This throws me off because it's on this side, it's not over here. But again, more accurate to what it should be. The seat looks good. You can put Chewbacca there if you want. You can put anyone sitting there if you want. There's no real training area. It's a lot smaller than, you know, what it would actually be inside, unfortunately. But for what it is, it's not bad. It's a pretty cool looking play area, and it does kind of remind me of the original Falcon in that way that, you know, we have the small play area for the figures. Their articulation is almost the same as them, aside from Leia moving both legs simultaneously instead of independently from each other. It reminds me of it. No training ball or anything like that, unfortunately. You can see where the clips are for the landing thing right there. There's a word for that, but I can't remember. And we do have the Smuggler's Bay thing here. You can kind of put your finger in there, lift it up, and put your figures in there if you want, and then just close it back up. Put your droids in there, smuggle your spice, whatever you want to do. Looks good. You can see the light here for the engines, which does light up. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But we also have this, which you can lift up. There's an opening right there, so you don't have to, but you can lift that up. And then we have the gunner seat right here. You can put a pilot in there upside down and have them shoot. It's cool. I guess it comes out because it's just easier to get the figure in and out that way, which is smart because, you know, struggling to get it out just like that would have been annoying. So, you know, pretty good call on their end. Does rotate all the way around if you wanted to. And we do have the buttons for the electronics, which we'll get to right now. I will say though, putting the top part back on, there is 2 tabs on the front right here that you need to kind of just slide in, then push down, and then snap in the right side and the left side if I can get it. There we go. So we have that. And so the left button here works as an on and off. It's definitely really loud, and it is motion activated. And then we have a button here for the blasters. So yeah, pretty cool. I will say right now, though, you can see it a little bit. The blue light does bleed through the plastic, which is unfortunate. Now, you can stick something under there to defuse it, which is what I'm going to end up doing. I didn't want to do it before I did the review or anything, but I did get a little piece of black paper that's pretty thick, stuck it under the lights right there, and it definitely kept that from showing. I'm going to actually turn this off so I can flip it back over without making sound. Does it on the top too, which I'm thinking electrical tape on the other side of that will keep that from having any light bleed through, and I think that'll, you know, make it come out pretty good. So a few more things to go over here. We have the smaller Millennium Falcon that comes with the Death Star from Galoob. Detail is pretty much there. It looks really good for the size of it and everything. You can see the size difference of that. I'll post a picture here of the size compared to the Power of the Force Falcon, which of course uses the original mold and everything, so you guys can kind of get an idea of the size of this thing from that. And in case anyone is wondering the size between the new figures and the old figures, there is Obi-Wan and Aunt Beru. And I do have Uncle Owen here. So you can see, if Obi-Wan was standing on the stand that they come in, he's definitely a lot taller. I feel like they're just slightly smaller. But if you just put them side by side from the stand and everything, it's not actually that bad. You do have a couple of Jawas right there. You can see the animal size and everything looks pretty good. And then randomly, when I bought this, it came with a battle droid, which, you know, the way he's posed looks pretty good. You know, nothing wrong with that. And if you have some of the old playsets from Galoob, you can definitely put some of these figures inside there. They do fit pretty well. Of course, they're not as detailed as, you know, something a little bit more modern, but for what they were at the time, they were really cool. And yeah, you can put Han Solo in the cantina. You can just put Ben somewhere in the middle of the desert. It definitely gives you some options if you have some of the older figures. So getting on to my final thoughts of this ship here. $44 retail, not too bad. I was fortunate enough to have pre-ordered this the day it went up on Amazon and only paid $37 because I guess it went down at some point. But yeah, I feel like $35 would have actually been a better price. Now this one does have electronics, which I understand. This is part of their assault class, which I think is their biggest class they have, at least at the moment. I highly doubt we're gonna get a Star Destroyer or anything big. They would have to be in their own kind of line for that to happen, which would be still cool, don't get me wrong, but for them, I feel like this is going to be around the maximum size. Probably get maybe something bigger if there is something bigger, but yeah, this is what I expect the bigger size of ships to be. So for the price, again, for the Falcon, not bad. There are some other lines, like the Razor Crest is going to be in the Starship class. There's the Transport class, the Starfighter class, and the Light Armor class, as well as some blind boxes, which not a big fan of blind boxes. I don't know, maybe I'll pick a few up if I actually see them, but we'll see how that goes. I'm not gonna say I'm all in on this line, definitely not. There's some things I probably don't want to get, but looking at this as a collector, it's honestly not a bad deal. Here we get the Millennium Falcon, we get a detailed interior, we get figures that can go inside it, and it doesn't take up the entire shelf if it actually fits in the shelf. And I'm talking about the Power to Force one or any of the other Falcons. They're all a little bit too big to kind of just have on display in more or less any area. It can be done, but it's always going to be a little bit inconvenient. Mine's definitely inconvenient. I love it, but it definitely, yeah, its space issue is 100% there. With this thing, it can definitely fit inside a bookshelf comfortably under a TV, even on a nightstand if you so want it to be there. And I think that's going to be the main selling point of this line. We're going to have that. Now, if you have the older action fleets, I can't tell you if this is better or not. I don't have the Falcon from that series. I don't have basically anything from that series. So yeah, it's kind of up in the air on that. But for newer collectors, people who maybe have not got those because they were young like me, they didn't collect them back then for whatever reason, this is definitely a good kind of just, here's a ship. We don't need it to be giant to appreciate it. I know there's some collectors who want their figures inside the ship. I really do want that Razor Crest from HasLab, but it's too much money. It takes up too much space. It's cool. I love the detailed interior. I would love to put my little 3¼ inch Mando in there, but also realistically, it's one of those things where like, if I buy that, I can't buy anything else ever, because one, it's aftermarket prices, and two, it's just so much space. This right here, good size, fits really good. The only other option if you want a really detailed, accurate Millennium Falcon is to either buy a model kit, which isn't cheap, or you can buy one of the, is it legacy ones? I don't remember what the line was called, but they were sold at Disneyland at one point also. I think they were sold online exclusively at Target at one point. Really expensive. If you can find it complete, you can part it out and maybe save some money, but yeah, that one definitely takes up a bunch of space too. It's definitely one I want to get too, which is not a good thing. Addiction is hard, people. Plastic addiction is real and it is hard. But yeah, that is pretty much my kind of thought point here, is that for what it is, it's not bad. For figure photography, I think it is great. I think it's a really good size. Gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna have this thing looking like it's flying, but it's definitely gonna be doable. I'll figure something out. I'm excited to try in the near future. Not right now, have some other things I need to take care of, but definitely in the near future, gonna have to take some photos of this thing. And yeah, if I were to change one thing on this Falcon, would be to add a interior light in the cockpit, because of photography reasons. I think it would have been cool to have like a little LED in there. I bet I can maybe get like a micro LED and like a tiny little battery and figure something out, but that's kind of besides the point. Should you pick this up, can't tell you either way. I do recommend it. I do think it's really cool. I think it will be great for gifts. I think it'll be great for saving space, and I think it'll be great for photography. Detail is in there. The paint work is really good, aside from, again, just like the little middle area, but that's fixable if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, it doesn't really matter. It looks really good. And at the end of the day, if it looks good, if it works, if it's functional, and if it's a pretty good value, then I guess that's all that really matters. And I honestly feel like, yeah, it's not a bad value at all. Again, would have loved to seen it for $10 cheaper, but it is what it is. If it's going to be just this class, it's this much money, because the Razor Crest is $30. Again, it's not bad. So yeah, only other thing I can add here is if you have a 3D printer, look into the Star Wars Legion stuff. If you downscale it just a little bit, it'll fit in and you can get yourself a really cool diorama, which is something I'm going to definitely be doing, is printing out some Star Wars Legion stuff at a couple sizes smaller and build myself up a little bit of a, I don't know, Tatooine, maybe just a random town or something. But definitely look forward to that in the future. I'll make a video whenever that's done, because it's going to take a while, but I think it'll be worth it. And yeah, that's pretty much my review for the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron. That name I'm not gonna remember anytime soon. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, really cool ship. I actually do like it. The more I mess with it, the better it gets. I will mention that the instructions don't talk about the I can't remember the name. It's really hot, by the way. It's like it's summer. You guys know how it is. But yeah, the little drop, I really can't remember the name, but the part that you go up and down the ship, the thingy, I almost had it, but I forgot it. It's on instructions that it opens, but you kind of just put your finger right there and pull it down and it comes down. So just wanted to put that out there. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.